Hi guys, it's been a few weeks now since I had the room tour. I think from my office. That was the last video that I made for Cranikin's YouTube channel, and I've been wanting to make quite a few others, but because I had my deadline, which was last Friday, I had to kind of get that out the way first, because the second book is coming in the Four Treasures series. So now that that's finished, I'm actually going to start plotting the third book, and it kind of gave me the idea that maybe people would like to see how I kind of like plot books, how I get started with inspiration and things like that, because I do think that that is the kind of thing that I am best at. The actual writing, maybe not so much, but coming up with characters and scenes and like concepts and story, I think is the thing that I enjoy the most. So I just wanted to talk you through that just in a little quick video. So if I just go on to my internet just now, the first thing that I always start off with is Pinterest. I find it really useful to kind of get all my ideas together. This is actually my Stone of Destiny board, so that was my first book that I wrote, which came out last October, and I've scrolled actually down to kind of towards the bottom so that I'm not giving away any spoilers for the second book that's coming out, and if I'm kind of scrolling through them, you might see some things which made it into the book, some things which didn't, but basically it's just a way for me to kind of think about scenes and dress and things like that. So actually this is one of my favourite pictures, the one that's it says here Graveyard Girls. This picture really inspired one of the kind of cryptid monsters in the Stone of Destiny, and if you've read it, maybe you'll kind of know which one that was. So yeah, I actually have things in this board for the second book and some of the things for the third book, because when I first started thinking about writing the Stone of Destiny, it was going to be a single book, not a series. So but I also knew what I wanted to happen in the story, and then as I was kind of going, I realised that actually it needs to be a series. I cannot just get through all this in the one book. So what I've started to do now for the third book, which is titled in kind of officially for me, but the title hasn't been released yet for anyone. So I've actually opened up a new board for that, and I've actually started to go through this board to pick out the things that I would like to put in the third book, or just kind of inspiration for the third book, so that hopefully I have things is a bit neater when I'm going through it. I don't need some of the things for the first and second books anymore. So once I've kind of gone through a Pinterest board and started to kind of collect some ideas together, I will sometimes go and make like a slides on Google, just to kind of so that I can see it all together. So for example, this is Ailsa's beach. Some of the pictures that I got that kind of started to make me think of her beach. Actually, her beach is inspired by a particular place that I used to live in Scotland. So I used to live in Campbelltown, and it's her beach was inspired by all of the kind of beaches up and down Kintyre. If you've never been before, I really suggest you go. One, it's so beautiful, and two, they have really good cakes down there. When lockdown is over, I really want to go back to the west coast for a little holiday, maybe with my partner and Ranger and maybe the new puppy, and I'll maybe get to see some friends and get to visit the places that inspired me for the Stone of Destiny as well. So you can also see I've just put some kind of general Elanmore things, some village kind of pictures that I've done Rye. I don't need to use all of these, but they are a bit more cut down than from the Pinterest board, so I'm starting to kind of think, what does this remind me of? What is this going to look like here? So that's the world building, and then I've also gone and done the same thing for the characters, which you'll see they're a bit more fleshed out. So this is Ailsa's page, and then we've got Harris, and look at that picture of that seal. That is just like so Harris as well. Little tiny seal. Angus, Iona, and then you'll kind of see some other ones which are maybe in the second book. One thing that I really love to read about myself personally is dresses, which if you've read The Stone of Destiny, there are a few kind of descriptions of dresses that people are wearing, and you know, the question was whether to just take those out or not, but I just really love to read about characters in fantasy and the dresses that they're wearing. So yeah, that kind of get kept in. You can kind of see some inspiration there for some of the things that Iona wears. So that's the characters and the world building, and then I've also written a timeline, and I'm not going to scroll down it because it's going to give you some again some spoilers, but I've kind of started well back. So actually this, if you've read The Stone of Destiny, you will know that there is a king before the king that is on the throne in The Stone of Destiny, and his name is King Alistair. So it's actually like all the way back to him, and you can see over here there's ages of characters. This is kind of in years, but then within the year that the Stone of Destiny and everything else is kind of happening, I've then broken that down into days, which I can't really show you. But hopefully you can kind of think about how that would go if you've read book. So like maybe the first day would be Ailsa is on her beach, and then the second day she sets out for Dunrye, and so they've kind of broken it down like that. So yeah, I start to kind of think about all these things. I also tend to write like a little summary of what I want to happen. I have got those for all 4 books, but I don't really want to show you that because that would again be spoilers. But basically I'm just kind of like writing out a plot, or with spoilers in it. And the funny thing is that when I read them back, I think, wow, I forgot that I was going to call that character that. I tend to change my character names quite a lot, although, you know, some names like Harris, I don't think he ever had that. He was always Harris. I feel like that name is so good for him. But yeah, sometimes I'll get to a name when I'm doing a little read through and I'll think it's a little bit too difficult to read and pronounce, or it doesn't really quite suit that character now that I've kind of written them a little bit more. Or sometimes I want to change their race and ethnicity, just to kind of, you know, try and make it a little bit less of the whole cast of characters as white. Because I think it's just more interesting having characters from all over the place, and you'll start to see that as you're kind of reading the second book. The point is, hopefully, that people will start to realise, okay, the first book is very Elanmore centred, but then as the books are going on, it's starting to become more of a kind of worldwide story, and as that's happening, there's more diverse characters that are kind of coming in, which is really exciting, just because it gives you more kind of ideas when you're coming up characters, and also you can start to tap into other mythology from other countries, which is really great, or like maybe you know, kind of descriptions and scenes which maybe wouldn't fit in Elanmore but somewhere else. So anyway, I'll start to kind of come up with all of that, and then when I get to start a new book, this is obviously just like an example here. What I tend to do is I'll open a Google Doc and I'll put the title and everything, and then I'll look at my kind of plot for what I want to happen, and I'll start to write it out into like, okay, Ailsa goes to Elsa goes on a boat, and that would be like, you know, a chapter or a scene. I could always break it up again. Yeah, and then I'll start to think, well, how many chapters is that going to need? What's going to happen within that chapter? And then what I do is I put, as well as my chapter numbers, I'll put like a very, very brief description of that chapter as I'm starting to write it. So I'll just put maybe start of story in forest, and then that means that when I'm scrolling through it again, it's really easy to find. And then I will highlight the chapter name. I will go into this little toggle here. It's currently set in normal text, but at the moment I'm going to put it to heading 2, which you'll be able to see there, and then it pops up then in the kind of side panel over there. And let's try that again with this one, heading 2. And just to kind of make it neat, I do a Control Enter for the beginning of a chapter so that it's a new page. It makes it a lot easier for me, and then I'll start to see them building up, and then I can write that little bit of it. I can copy and paste it from other documents if I like. And what I do, just to kind of keep myself, again, knowing what I'm doing, is if I've written that chapter and if I'm happy with it to begin with, then I'll just change that to a heading 3, and then it gets smaller over here so that I know, okay, I don't need to worry about that one too much. I used to highlight chapters with like colours. Okay, that one's done, but it's so messy to look at. So I really think that is really helpful, because I don't write in order. I write out of order. I know what's happening in the whole story. But if one day I wake up and I think I want to write a fight scene today, then I will just skip to a fight scene. But then if I am really pushing myself to try and write and kind of get some words down, I will try and go from where I've already written a chapter and just try and write the next one. So that kind of helps me. So yeah, that is how I get started on a book. Obviously, I'm starting the next one, which I'm really excited about. I've also got another few that I am working on at the moment. I'm in the kind of Pinterest stage for one of them. For the other one, I'm about 20,000 words through a draft. So that is, I've done all of the world building, characters, etc. And I'm on to the Google Doc. And the good thing about this is that it saves it every time. I know that a lot of people use Scrivener and like Microsoft Word, but I really like Google Docs because 1, it's free, and 2, it always saves everything, and I always forget to save things. And if I get to a point, well, I try and do this a lot. I'm trying to do this a lot more now, but sometimes happens. If I get to a point I think, oh, I want to like save a copy, I'll just go into File and I will go down to Make a Copy, and then I know that I've got a backup of it, and then I can also share that or send or download it, send in an email or whatever, so that I've got some different copies of it. But definitely using Google Docs has saved me, because you can go back and look at previous edits. And one time when I was about 50,000 words into the second book, which is called The Cauldron of Life, I deleted the whole thing, and I was like, oh my god, what have I done? But then I just hit the back button and it saved it all. It all came back, so I was like, whew, better try and make a little copy of that then. So yeah, that's how I get started with writing. I hope that's been interesting to some of you. I hope that it's not just been a big ramble. And if you have got any questions or any suggestions for other things that you'd like me to make videos about, just give me a little shout in the comments below the video. Thanks very much, guys, and have a good week.